If books could talk, reader POV. So I was in the middle of reading an absolutely steamy romance novel under my blanket fort. You know, just your typical Saturday night. When suddenly the pages started flipping on their own. At first, I thought maybe it was the wind, or like a trick of my blanket fort. You know, since sometimes when the blankets are flowing around it gets all swishy, and the pages can kind of flip. But no, this was definitely not that. Then I heard a voice. A deep, rich voice that sent shivers down my spine. It said, "Finally, someone is reading me." And then the book slammed shut. Startled, I jumped out of my blanket fort and nearly tripped over my cat Nala, who was giving me the "What are you doing? It's been 3 hours. Are you even gonna finish your water tonight?" Look, I swear that cat judges me for every single decision I make. "Sorry, Nala," I whispered back, "but I think we have a bigger problem." Because as I turned back to the bookshelf, I saw that all of the books were now floating in midair. And by all of them, I mean every single book in my apartment. From the romance novels to the self-help books, even the one book that I had clearly marked with a post-it note to remember to burn in the next 5 minutes because it was filled with nothing but bad poetry and bad decisions. Yeah, that one. And as if sensing my stare, the book floated towards me and then landed in my hands. The cover read burned me in dripping crimson letters. And as I hesitantly flipped it open, I heard a chorus of voices, some deep and resonant, others high and reedy, all chanting in unison, "Read us, read us, read us, read us." With a mixture of terror and excitement, I felt myself nod in response. What was happening? Was this some kind of bizarre group hallucination brought on by too much water and bad poetry? But then the biggest, deepest voice boomed through the room, silencing the others. It said, "Welcome, chosen one. We have been waiting for you." Chosen one? Me? But why? Why would a bunch of books choose me to be their reader? I mean, sure, I love to read. I devour books faster than a teenager at a buffet, but I'm hardly what I would call well-read. In fact, I often find myself skipping over the classics in favor of the latest romance novel. Hey, don't judge. Sometimes you just need a good enemies to lovers story. Still, something compelled me to listen. Maybe it was the sheer ridiculousness of the situation. A girl and her cat being held hostage by sentient books demanding to be read. Or maybe it was the promise of adventure, of finally getting to live out the fantasy of actually being a protagonist instead of just reading about them. Whatever the reason, I found myself agreeing. Okay, you books, you win. I will read you. And so began my bizarre new life. Every night after work, I would come home and curl up on my couch with a different book. One night, it would be a tale of forbidden love between two star-crossed lovers. The next, a thrilling mystery that kept me on the edge of my seat. And then perhaps a horrifying horror story that had me sleeping with the lights on. Through it all, I learned that each book had its own unique magic. The worn copy of Pride and Prejudice smelled faintly of lavender and old paper, and its pages rustled like autumn leaves. The leather-bound Moby Dick felt cool and smooth beneath my fingertips, and its words seemed to echo with the cries of the sea. As for the book, I had meant to burn Bad Decisions and other poems. Well, let us just say that after hearing some of the truly terrible things that had been written about me, I decided that maybe burning it wasn't such a good idea after all. Some things are better left in the past, even if that past includes bad poetry. And as for my cat Nala, she took to the whole situation like a bookworm to a fresh page. She would curl up on my lap during our nightly reading sessions, purring loudly and batting at the turning pages. Who knew a cat could be such a book lover? But then again, Nala has always been full of surprises. One day, I came home to find her perched on the arm of the couch, batting playfully at the empty space beside me, as if to say, "Well, where are your reading glasses, human? It's our nightly ritual." I laughed and scratched behind her ears. "You're such a bookworm, aren't you, Nala?" I said, knowing that no matter what book I chose that night, we would both be lost in its pages before long.